Hi guys, how are you? I hope all are fine and safe. In the previous classes, Jagan sir has almost completed the first 8 paragraphs of the chapter Project Tiger. So, from today onwards, we are moving on to the 9th paragraph. Before that, let's recall what we had learned in the last paragraphs. So, in this memoir, the Project Tiger, the world-renowned Indian filmmaker Satyajit Ray pays respect to the Hollywood filmmakers who gave very much importance to the animal actors. And then he remembers the film Rin Tin Tin, which he had seen in his childhood. After that, he tells us that he got an opportunity to see a shooting in Hollywood. When he reached there, he was so much astonished to see the trained animals. So there they are using trained animals for making movies, and they are even using stand-ins for animals. So what is a stand-in? Yes, he's a person who serves as a substitute for an actor or an actress. So there they are using stand-ins even for animals. I think you remember the film Ringmaster, Malayalatile Ringmaster cinema, alle? So there a character says that the famous actor Guinness Pakru sometimes act as a stand-in for dogs. നായ്ക്കൾക്ക് സ്റ്റാൻഡിനായിട്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ഡ്യൂപ്പായിട്ട് ആര് അഭിനയിക്കാറുണ്ട്? ഗിന്നസ് പക്രു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ നടൻ അഭിനയിക്കാറുണ്ട്.
ലുക്ക് ഇത് സത്യവേലേട്ടൻ ഡോഗ്സിന് ഡൂപ്പിടുന്ന ആളാണ്.
കറക്റ്റ് സൈസിലുള്ള ആളെ തന്നെ കിട്ടിയല്ലോ.
But you have to remember that Satyajit Ray is saying something which happened in 1970s and 60s. Okay, Satyajit Ray then tells us about the world classic film Birds by Alfred Hitchcock. In that film, Hitchcock has used hundreds of trained ravens. And he says how hard it was for Alfred Hitchcock to find these trained animals. We know how much hard it is to train animals like tigers, elephants, horses, etc. But here he used hundreds of trained ravens. Okay. After that, Satyajit Ray recalls his own experience while shooting a film Gopi Gaine Bhaga Baine. In that film, he was in need of a tiger. Yes, a great tiger. Okay. Now, let's move on to the paragraph number 9. Before that, let's familiarize some new words.
Obvious.
Greet.
Ringmaster.
Grove.
Pace. A single step taken when walking or running.
Nod. Verb. To incline the head up and down, as to indicate agreement.
Now, I will read paragraphs 9 and 10. You close your text and just listen to it. Okay, after that I will ask you some questions. Having thought of the scene, I simply had to shoot it. But where were we going to find a tiger? The obvious thing to do was to look in a circus, since they were likely to have trained animals. As a matter of fact, one called Bharat Circus was visiting Calcutta at the time, holding shows in Marcus Square. We sent someone to make an appointment with its Tamil manager and then went to meet him one morning. He greeted us warmly and ordered South Indian coffee for us. The manager heard the reason of our visit, then sent for one Mr. Thorat. He turned out to be the ringmaster. He too was a South Indian, very well built, with features somewhat like those of a Nepali. He was perhaps no more than 40. He showed us an old scar on his forearm which had been caused by a tiger. We told him what we wanted. The shooting was taking place near Shuri in Birbhum. We wanted to show a tiger in a thick bamboo grove. All the animal was required to do was come out of the bamboo grove into an open space. Pace gently for a while. Look at the camera if possible and then go back. Could a tiger from Bharat Circus do this job? Mr. Thorat nodded. How long will you need it for? Asked the manager. Perhaps a couple of hours for the shooting, I replied. But that would be in addition to the time it will take to travel to and from Shuri. On being told that the travel itself should take no more than 2 days, the manager agreed to put the tiger in his cage and send it in a lorry. He invited us to take a look at the tiger. Do you think it's going to be easy to set the animal free in the bamboo grove? I couldn't help asking. Mr. Thorat frowned. I'm not sure, he replied. I had never let him out of the cage on his own. So, really, I don't know. What? Were all our plans going to go down the drain? How could we let the tiger's trainer be seen with the animal? How could Gobi and Bhaga be petrified with fear if the supposedly ferocious animal was accompanied by a man? No, we could not allow that to happen. Mr. Thorat found a solution. I will tie a wire round the tiger's neck. It will be thin but strong. If the wire was thin enough, perhaps it would remain invisible to the camera. But it was likely that the hair on the tiger's neck would be flattened by the wire, which would give the whole thing away. What if we found a collar made of tiger skin, fixed the wire to this collar, and then tied it around the tiger's neck? I said. Now, open your text and read paragraphs 9 and 10. Have you finished reading? Okay. What idea you got from these paragraphs? Yes, Satyajit Ray was in need of a tiger. He needs a tiger for the shooting of his new film Gopi Gaine Bhaga Baine. He searched for a tiger everywhere. At last, somehow, he came to know that Bharat Circus is visiting Calcutta. They are performing in Marcus Square. So, he sent one of his colleagues to the Bharat Circus office just to make an appointment with the circus manager. So, after getting the appointment, he went to meet the circus manager. Can you imagine a conversation between the circus manager and Satyajit Ray? Okay, I will give you a model. After that, you have to prepare a conversation by your own. Okay, let's see. After hearing the purpose of visit of Satyajit Ray, our circus manager was so happy to help him. How? Yes, by providing a tiger. But before that, he had to consult it with the ringmaster, Mr. Thorat. So, he introduced Mr. Thorat, the ringmaster, to Satyajit Ray. Here, Satyajit Ray gives us a detailed description about Mr. Thorat, how he looks like. Yes, he is a South Indian, well built, somewhat look like a Nepali. He is in his 40s and he had an old scar in his forearm, might have caused by a tiger attack. Here, Satyajit Ray tells Mr. Thorat about his need. Satyajit Ray told Mr. Thorat what he wanted. He decided to shoot this film in Shuri in Birbhum. Birbhum, it's a district in West Bengal, somewhat like Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala. He just wanted the tiger to come out of a bamboo grove, pace a little, to look at the camera if possible, then go back.
চলে গেল বোধহয়। না যাইনি
He asked Mr. Thorat, could a tiger from this Bharat circus do this? Mr. Thorat nodded yes. And he asked, how long will you need this tiger? That was a question. Because this Shuri is somewhat 220 kilometers away from Calcutta. And at that time, it takes 2 days to reach there. Somehow, the circus manager agreed it. He had decided to send the tiger in a cage to Suri. And he invited Mr. Satyajit Ray to see the tiger. On the way, Satyajit Ray asked one more question to Mr. Thorat. Do you think it is safe to set the tiger free in a bamboo grove? It was a tricky question. Can you imagine the answer or the reply of Mr. Thorat? Yes, let's look into it. Before moving to the next section, I would like to ask you some questions. How did Satyajit Ray manage to get the tiger? Yes, Satyajit Ray managed to get the tiger from Bharat circus. What's the role of a ringmaster? Yeah, ringmaster trains animals in circus. Name the movie in which Satyajit Ray wanted the tiger to act. Gopi Gaine Bhaga Baine. Where was the location? Yes, it's in Shuri in Birbhum district of West Bengal. Can you briefly describe Mr. Thorat? Yes, Mr. Thorat is a South Indian, very well built, having features somewhat like of a Nepali. He is in his 40s and he has an old scar in his forearm. Okay. Now, let's move on to paragraph 11 and 12. Before that, let's get familiarized with some new words.
Frown.
Okay.
Noun. A facial expression in which the eyebrows are brought together, and the forehead is wrinkled, usually indicating displeasure, sadness or worry, or less often confusion or concentration.
Down the drain. In a state of failure or ruination.
Ferocious. Marked by extreme and violent energy. Extreme or intense.
Company. Verb. To go with or attend as a companion or associate, to keep company with, to go along with.
Now, let's move on to paragraph 11 and 12. I'll read the paragraph. Same as before, you just close your text and Mr. Thorat frowned. I'm not sure, he replied. I had never let him out of the cage on his own. So, really, I don't know. What? Were all our plans going to go down the drain? How could we let the tiger's trainer be seen with the animal? How could Gobi and Bhaga be petrified with fear if the supposedly ferocious animal was accompanied by a man? No, we could not allow that to happen. Mr. Thorat found a solution. I will tie a wire round the tiger's neck. It will be thin but strong. If the wire was thin enough, perhaps it would remain invisible to the camera. But it was likely that the hair on the tiger's neck would be flattened by the wire, which would give the whole thing away. What if we found a collar made of tiger skin, fixed the wire to this collar, and then tied it around the tiger's neck? I said. I hope you got a vague idea about this paragraph 11 and 12. Now you just read this paragraph. I think you will get a clear idea about it. Okay, after that let's analyze this paragraph. Now let's analyze the paragraph 11 and 12. Satyajit Ray thought, how could I let the trainer be with the tiger in the scene? So what's the scene? Yes, the two main characters of the film, Gopi and Bhaga, they meet in a bamboo grove, and there they see a tiger coming out of the bamboo grove. They are supposed to get afraid. Do you think they will get afraid if the tiger is accompanied by its trainer? No, they never. So they have to find some other solution. Suddenly, our ringmaster, Mr. Thorat, came forward with an idea. What was it? Yes, very good. He will tie a thin wire around the tiger's neck. That wire, it will be very thin but strong, so that it will be invisible to the camera. All became happy. But arise another problem. Suppose if they tie that wire around the tiger's neck, the hair around the tiger's neck will be flattened. It will be visible in that film. So, to solve that situation, Satyajit Ray put forward another suggestion. They had to make a collar which resembles tiger skin, and have to tie that wire in that collar. Thus, they solved that problem. Okay guys, can I ask you some questions? Yes. The first one. What was Mr. Thorat's suggestion to control the tiger? Yes, Mr. Thorat suggested to tie a thin but strong wire around tiger's neck. What was the problem in tying the tiger with a wire? So, if the wire is thin and strong, it will be invisible to the camera. But when they tie that wire around the tiger's neck, it will flatten the hair around the tiger's neck. Okay. So what was the solution found by Satyajit Ray? Yeah, he suggested to fix the wire in a collar made of tiger skin and tie it around tiger's neck. Okay. Who were the characters mentioned in this scene? Yes, Gopi and Bhaga. Now, what was the scene? Very good. The tiger. A tiger is coming out of a bamboo grove into an open space. Then he pays a little. Then he looks at the camera if possible. Okay guys, I hope you got an idea about the paragraphs 9, 10, 11 and 12. Now let's do some discourse works. Okay, I will provide you an example. You have to listen to it, read it and try to make your own. Okay, then you have to send it to your concerned English teachers. No animal is harmed in the production of this film. You might have noticed this statement at the beginning of films. Do you think that animals are harmed while shooting? Prepare a speech in response to this statement. A model is provided here. Read it and prepare a speech of your own.